guys, welcome back once again. Today I have in store for you guys a special effects tutorial. I know it has been a long time in between now and my last one, and for that I do apologize, but I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm just going to jump straight on in and get crack-a-lackin' on. I wanted to do today a slit throat. I've been wanting to do it for a while. I was torn as to what kind of product I wanted to use. I did settle on 3rd degree. Now I do realize that this is not the cheapest. It's not probably the easiest for you guys to get either, especially if you aren't doing special effects makeup all the time. So these little jars retail as a pack for about, I think, 40 Australian dollars. Don't hold me to that. I will put the correct price around here somewhere. But it is a really nice alternative to trying to put gelatin just straight on your skin, and it dries down and holds its shape and is flexible. So it does have that benefits over scar wax. If you have seen my video creating scars 5 different ways, I did use this and it was pretty close to being one of my favorites. I will also today be using the Skin Illustrator palettes. I do have the FX palette here and just the Skin Illustrator palette here. You can of course just use foundation and whatever you have handy. If you do not have these, do not rush out and buy them just to do this one look, but if you are into special effects, they are of course a handy little dandy palette to get your hands on. And then as well with alcohol palettes, you need alcohol to activate them. So you need at least 99% alcohol to be able to do this. It just doesn't work as well without this standard of alcohol. And then as well I will be using some blood, just because why not? We love a bit of blood here. This is of course the Fleet Street drying blood in fresh. They do have another one in dark, which I also really like. This will set, so if you drip it down your neck and let it dry, it will be like, it'll set, you can touch it and it won't smear everywhere, but it will keep this nice delicious shine to it. But really, without further ado, I'm just gonna crack on into it. I'm not gonna beat around the bush anymore. For those of you who are unfamiliar with 3rd degree or just a silicone-based modeling compound, you have to put equal parts of A and B in a container together and mix it around. You do have to be really careful not to accidentally get a little bit of A in the B container or vice versa, as it will set your product and it'll be wasted. You can't unset the product. I find the best way to mix these is having 3 separate spatulas or paddle pop sticks, whatever you've got on hand. If you aren't used to doing it, I would recommend labeling them, but I'm pretty used to what I'm doing, but that's always usually famous last words, and who knows, I'll probably screw this up. But one for keeping in container A, one for keeping in container B, and one for mixing the 2 together and not combining them or getting them wrong or anything like that. You will of course also want just a little mixing dish. I would recommend doing small quantities at a time, as if you put too much in, you do have a set amount of time that you have to work with it, and if you haven't got all that product on before it sets, you won't be able to use it. It'll be a waste. So I think I'm going to keep it a pretty clean slit throat today. I'm not going to go super gory. If you would like to see that though, please let me know down below. As well, if you would like to see this done with something a little bit more readily available like latex, I could even do a how to create a prosthetic of a slit throat. If you would be interested in seeing that, please give it a thumbs up and let me know down below so I can get onto that for you guys. So for some reason I completely forgot to mention that I'm actually just putting a little bit of A and a little bit of B in a little container and just preparing it for mixing. It slipped my mind, I don't know why. And then you just want to mix the 2 together. So once it is mixed together, it will become a lot more runny than what it's like in the container. And again, I will just reiterate the fact that you do have a short working time, so you might have about 5 minutes, give or take, to actually get it on, and it'll start to set and become too hard to work with. I find the best way to do it is start up the top and do your first kind of mark of where you want the wound the top part of the wound to be, and then once you're happy with that, go in and put on the bottom part, making sure to not get them to touch, otherwise it will start to stick together and it will just look a little bit more messy. But don't stress, you do have a little bit of working time, so if it does touch, you can of course come back in with just a slightly sharp spatula, not a knife, nothing too sharp, something with a little bit of a point, and just separate them. Just making sure to smooth out the edges as you go, just so it's not too drastic so you can't really see where the skin ends and the prosthetic begins. Now I'd recommend, just with a little bit of Vaseline or something like that, going over just with your finger and just smoothing out the edges, otherwise it's going to be quite noticeable. Then just with the other end of the spatula, I'm going to go in and I'm going to put a little bit of Vaseline on it just so it doesn't try and grip, and just really try and get those edges looking nice and sharp, and try and just make it a little bit uneven, not a nice straight line. Like dig one bit a little bit deeper, and then I'm just gonna go in and try and smooth out anywhere that's a little bit too thick. Let's just really make it look like somebody's hacked at my throat with a reasonably blunt knife. And then that is pretty much set right now. I'm gonna wipe off just any extra Vaseline that I've got going on. And if you're really wanting it to give it just that little bit of skin texture so it's not too shiny, just go over with a sponge of some kind and just rough it up a little bit. You know what, I thought I was gonna color it with an alcohol palette, but I think I might just do a little bit of concealer and foundation and just see how that actually goes. I'm just gonna use the Thin Lizzy concealer, and then I might just go over the top with the same foundation that I've got going on my noggin. Then just taking a little bit of the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop and just putting that over the top as well. Okay, so I'm going to apologise in advance, but my microphone for some reason just cut out and didn't record for this last little bit, so you will see my lips out of sync, that is why. But just taking the effects palette, I'm just going in with the Blood Tone, the Fresh and the Aged, I believe, and applying that to the insides of the wound. Just going through in several different layers and just building up the colour, trying to not make it one even colour as well. And then going in with the Fleet Street Blood that I had before, I'm just going in and applying that all on the inside of the wound, and then also just trying to get it to drip down, give it a nice kind of gory look to it. Obviously, if you slit your throat, it's not going to be this nice drippy thing, it's going to be an absolute bloodbath, but that's just the unrealistic look that I was going for today, so please just keep that in mind. Depending on what you want your wound to look like, an actual slit throat is not going to look this nice and neat and pretty. I mean, I don't know if pretty is the correct term, but that's what we're going with. But as you can see here, it stretches really well with your neck. It's not like gelatin where it'll start to peel up, or latex where it's really stiff. You can kind of see that little bit of dimension on the side, that there is a bit of a wound there. And just, I mean, you could make it a lot more drastic if you wanted to, but I think this is the extent that you'd want to take silicone to. But yeah, I hope that is what you guys were looking for today. I hope you enjoyed watching this. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell wherever it may be hiding. And if there is any other tutorials that you would like to see me do, as in how to do it with latex or how to make a full-blown prosthetic, let me know down below and I will try and get onto that for you guys. But thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Blah.